This talk is going to be about continuous delivery of mobile apps. Just going to the agenda shortly, but just first I'm going to introduce myself and Frank.
Oh, yeah, me first. Alright, I work at Luminis, fullstack .NET developer, so I do a lot related with Microsoft, usually software development. But obviously also run into CI/CD, what we're going to talk about tonight. I like to work with Xamarin, so there you have the mobile aspect of the talk we're going to give tonight. Usually when I do mobile development, it's going to be using Xamarin. I like to be a public speaker at our own conference or abroad or here. I really like Azure, so usually when I deploy my stuff, preferably Azure, I really like to use their services. You can contact me at my email address or credit.
Yeah. So I'm Steef Burghouts. I also work for Luminis Arnhem. I'm more a Java developer. I work with mobile apps as well as backend apps. And I really like cycling, but I'm not that good. So I'm a recreational cyclist, but very artistic. So let's start. So this is the agenda for today. So why continuous delivery for mobile apps? I think it's a silly question with this audience, since it's a continuous delivery meetup, but I'm gonna answer this anyways. The second question comes from so what tools are we using? Is it the standard CI environment we're going to use, or is there external tools? So what are we going to use? And the answer is already in this third point here. We're going to use Fastlane for our continuous delivery. And then Frank is going to talk about how to integrate Fastlane in your CI environment. And in our case, we're going to integrate Fastlane with VSTS. Visual Studio.
A little disclaimer there, it's not going to be very specific for Fastlane. How to do mobile CI with a little bit of Fastlane in your.
Yeah, VSTS is using Fastlane. But there are nice dialogues about them. So, I'm just going to say something about my current project and what kind of troubles we run into. So we had our own environment, we gave Jenkins, and it builds iOS apps and it builds Android apps, the Burghouts app, and it produces some artifacts. And then the product owner just got the artifacts from Jenkins, downloaded it, and then uses the Apple application uploader. I don't know if anyone used that before, but it's pretty crappy. And so it took a lot of time, and also sometimes he just got the wrong build and then uses the wrong artifacts, and then it's uploaded, and then so much trouble. Same for the Android builds. So it was very error prone, our process. And also the feedback loop. So a lot of checks are performed when uploading the apps to the App Store. And then, so you already finished your release, everything is uploaded, and then, oh shit, there's something wrong. And then that version number is already committed to Apple. So you can't reuse the version number of just release mobile app. So we wanted to change this because we want to trust the feedback loop. We don't want to include a manual drone upload process, and we want to save time because the product owner, it took a lot of time to upload apps. Sometimes it took hours because of the bug in the Apple uploader. So how are we going to change that? We just looked at the tools that can be used to automatically upload apps. And then the first thing is the native Apple developer tools like Xcode Build. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's kind of a horror to configure that. And it changes all the time, which is not that good. You have to change your build configuration again. And also the output is very verbose. So that's not a very good option. And then you've got something called Xcode Server. Currently it's not very popular, but they just acquired a tool called BuddyBuild. And we heard of BuddyBuild, but since the beginning of this year they did support Android, but then Apple acquired it, and it's going to be just Apple. So the Xcode Server is pretty crappy, so they acquired another CI environment, and they're going to integrate it in their Xcode Server. Hopefully it's going to be fine. They did a similar thing to TestFlight. So TestFlight was for Android and iOS, and then they acquired it, and now it's integrated into the product, and nobody developing Android can use it anymore. But Google got their own thing. They got Fabric. They acquired it as well. You can still run iOS apps by Fabric. And you can use a Gradle plugin to upload apps, but those options are not very maintainable. So we looked at a tool called Fastlane. And then when looking into Fastlane, we saw that both Fabric and Build was using Fastlane under, like, with a shell on top of it. So we got some investigation into it, and then we found out it's pretty awesome. So what is Fastlane? Fastlane is a toolset for building and testing. It's just the whole process from building to delivery, and they all support that. It's open source. It's acquired by Google. It's used in Fabric, as already told, and also supported by major CI tools. It's like a family of different tools which all support a specific part of the building process. So in this talk, I'm going to go through all the major steps in your build process. So starting with testing, the building, making automated screenshots. I'm going to give a demo of that, how that's done. Code signing, which can be very tricky for iOS with the code sign identity and the provisioning profiles, and a lot of people got really stuck with that. How to do beta releasing, so to services like TestFlight or Crashlytics, and then how to do a release to the actual Play and App Store, and it also got some support to give some notifications to some channels like Slack. So, first thing, it's testing. So for iOS, there's a specific tool within the Fastlane family called Scan, and it's there. It's on top of the Xcode build tools from iOS, and it's built because the output of the Xcode build tools is very verbose, and also it doesn't really generate nice overviews of what tests are failed, which tests are succeeded, and all kind of stuff. So Scan uses that, and it's really simple to configure. So every tool within the Fastlane family has its own configuration file, which is checked into version control. So all your build configuration is in version control as well. So that's very cool. And so, for example, here you just pick a random schema name you wanna execute, and then you can select which devices you want to run the test in case you want a UI test, for examples. And then the output type, so you can select, I want my test results in HTML or in JSON or in XML. So that's the big improvement over the original Xcode build tools which iOS provides. And then Android, it's really good. You can use Gradle, and the test reports are good, and so nothing is created for this because it's already nice out of the box. Also, within the Fastlane family, you can create your own plugins. So a lot of people already did that. So you can run Appium test and SonarQube analysis. It's all within your build process. So a lot of covered it's here as well. So next thing is building. So same thing as for testing. You have a tool called Gym, and it creates an IPA file for your iOS artifact. IPA is the artifact of an iOS app which you upload to the test flight for beta testing or the App Store for releasing. And also the configuration is really simple. The same principle as we saw with Scan. Your configuration is with a file called the Gym file. So that's like a convention with the tool name and then the file. And you can select some configuration here, like your expert options, which is in the playlist file, either in the playlist file or just properties which you can provide to your within your configuration file, the output directory and name. Loads of other stuff as well. But the good thing is as I already said earlier, this is object in version control. So your whole build process is in version control. So if you want to migrate to another build server, the option is already there. And also if you want to change something, you can within your normal version control process, like merging and stuff like that. So you have more control over what is actually being built in the server. So that's the big advantage over there. It also claims to be 30% faster than the normal Xcode build tools, which iOS provides to build an iOS app. I can either confirm or deny it's 30% faster. That just claims to be 30% faster. Same option with Android. It's really good. You can build with Gradle. It can be done within your Fastlane configuration, and it builds perfectly for Android using Gradle. By the way, if you have questions, just go ahead. So, in time.
Yeah, I was wondering, why is the building after testing actually? Why not the other way around?
Because you first want to test your software and then build it. Because you don't want to build when it's the test field.
Oh, it's
But
great artifacts.
it's just for me.
It's creating the artifacts. Is that the building phase? Is building phase creating the artifacts or?
Oh yeah, yeah, like the APK files for Android or the APK files for iOS. But it's specific for this presentation. This,
Yeah.
It's not like this has to be all steps you have to do in this order. And then screenshots. So you think screenshot? Why do you want to have? Why you want to have this within your CI/CD process? It's really good actually. If you look at the store, like an App Store or Play Store, you see a lot of screenshots, but most of the time they're a bit outdated. And also, you need screenshots for every locale you support, and also preferably for every screen in your app. So if you support a lot of locales in your app, and you want to make a screenshot for every page, yeah, you end up making hundreds of screenshots potentially. So you want to automate this, and there snapshot comes in. You select what kind of devices you want to make the screenshots on, what locales you support here, and then you can integrate within your existing UI test, or you have to create UI test in that case, and then you can use a library which calls something like make screenshots with a name, and then it outputs it to the directory which you can upload automatically to the App Store later. But I'm gonna go into detail later. So Snapshot is the tool for iOS, and then you have something similar for Android, which is called Screen Grab. You have a couple of things you have to configure for this, and then it just automatically creates screenshots. And I'm going to demo it. So let's see. So I have a thing called a fast file, and there I define some lanes. And one of the lanes I defined is the test lane. And what the test lane does is it's called a Gradle task called test, and a Gradle task called assembly debug, assembly for Android test. So what it does is it creates an APK file which you can use to run your UI test with, and then it's called capture Android screenshots, and that's what it does. It will capture Android screenshots, and the configuration for this step is within a separate file, and it's called screen grab file. And the only thing I configured here is where the APK is actually stored. It's in my Arc directory because I just created it. and which locales I want to use for my screenshots. So currently I support my app only US, but you can select more if you support that. And the only thing you have to do is called Fastlane, and then the name of the lane. It's called test. I just showed you, and then it will run Fastlane, and it will first create the artifact. Can you use it? We install OK on the simulator. Open here. We'll run the test, and then it creates an HTML file with the screenshot you just created. So for now, I just created one screenshot. I have a very simple app, just a default app. But if you have more screens and more UI tests and also more locales, it's a really nice overview of all the screens within your app. And also, if you support more languages, which like in English it's cancel, like a cancel button, but in German it's abbrechen. Maybe it doesn't fit on that button, and just the translation I've changed. So you have a nice overview if everything still looks good in your app. And also you have the option to switch the orientation of the app automatically within your UI test and create screenshots of that as well. So then you have a really nice overview of all the screens on your app in all your languages, and then you put a really nice check if everything still looks okay. So it's not only helpful for uploading screenshots to the store, but also for just checking if everything still looks okay with all your languages. Okay, so this is the nightmare subject of all of iOS developers. So you have seen this error before, and did it actually fix the issue when clicking on it? Because it didn't for me. It just broke more in my case. So a little background of code signing. So for code signing, you need a code signing identity, which has to be installed on your local machine or your build server. And that is linked to a provisioning profile, which you can download from the Apple developer portal, which has to link to your own code sign identity. And it's also a bridge to the app identifier. And the app identifier is the specific code for the app in a specific environment. So an app identifier for the same app for an enterprise environment is different from App Store or development. So if you have a large team with like 10 members who all have their own code sign identity, who all need their own provisioning profiles for every app, for every environment, you end up with a lot of provisioning profiles which expire over time, and wrong provisioning profiles are selected, and then you end up with that error and you don't know what to do. Because this thing is a lot misunderstood for a lot of developers. So Fastlane come with this issue, with this solution for the problem, and it's called match. So what they thought is like, why do we need so much provisioning profile and so much code signing identities? Why can't we check it in the Git repo? So that's what they did. So match will create a private Git repo while you supply URL for the private Git repo, because it's a private key, so it will be secure. But you can encrypt this, and it's private. So when a new member comes in the team, it uses match. It will check out the Git repo with the required username and password, and things like that. And then it will install your private key within your local machine, and everybody's using the same private key. And also, when you have to update your provisioning profile because it expired, then one of the team has to do it, and it's applied with everybody. So Fastlane supports. So you have like an init option where it just installs everything, checks it out, and you can just be good to go. And you have an update thing where you can update your provisioning profiles, and then the next time you run it, it will update from the latest from the repository, and it will use it. So yeah, with Match you don't have these problems anymore, and there's just one provisioning profile per code signing identity, just one code signing identity per environment. So that will solve a lot of things.
Yeah. I think you suggested somewhere in the storyline that also the build server could do the signing. Isn't that like a lot easier?
Yes, so
It's safer
if
than-
you create the app on your build server,
Yeah.
it can do the signing.
So what's the reason for creating it locally?
Because you want to upload, for example, to the beta store, or if you don't use the CI environment, a lot of people aren't using it. So I asked around in the office for the iOS developers, so how do you use it? And they all do it from Xcode, the deployment to the server. Also because you need a separate Mac agent on your environment, and some people don't have it, and that is usually broken, which is really error prone. But also you can do those problems. And also you need it for development. So if you want to run it on your emulators, if I'm correct, then you need the code signing identity as well.
Especially if you want to run it on devices, so actual devices.
Yeah. So if you have a test device which is connected to your laptop and you want to deploy app to that, you need an App Store provisioning profile linked to your code signing identity. So it's not only for deployment to the App Store, but also deployment to your local machine where you just test it.
Yeah, so for testing it makes a lot of sense, but for the production version of the app, I think I would be software developers.
Yeah.
You don't have to use it if you don't want to share them on your team.
So that means like for testing and development, you you have to use a code signing identity to deploy to your phone just for testing.
I think with the emulator, it's not necessarily anymore. It's not necessary anymore, but to a real device. You can't just install anything on a device. So you need to register that device online, get a certificate.
So why not force your developers or teach your developers always to learn your CGI or your CI development?
If you just want to test on the device, you have a bug, and you report the bug. This happens only on iOS 6 and not on a simulator, only on a real device. And you can actually see what's going on. Run one with the debugger.
And what about delivery? Should they always use the CI for delivery, or because that's what I'm wondering about?
I would love that if that's possible, but
Yeah.
it's not going to happen in every scenario.
Okay.
Yeah, alright. So, you don't have this for Android. You just sign your code with your own price, and that's it. So I'm not going to talk about Android within this subject. Obviously, beta store integrations it can be part of your build steps, like deploying to test flight or Facilities or Akia or anything. I think it was like 16 services which is supported. So you can already do that from your Fastlane integration.
Sorry, what's beta store?
Sorry?
What's the beta store?
So there's a difference between like the real Play Store, which you download apps from, and stores like Crashlytics. Crashlytics is mostly I think used to test your app within a certain circle, and also it reports crashes really nicely. So it's called a beta store. So like test flight is used by Apple for the beta and alpha lanes, and the actual app store is used for the production.
Don't like the tools that they offer, you can use your own tools to split it out between your company.
Yeah.
But actually both iOS and Android have their alpha, beta and production steps, so
Yeah.
but it's also supported.
So we have a tool called Pilot, and that is used to upload to test flight. And So you can upload and distribute builds and add and remove testers automatically. Also retrieve like information from test flights. So how many users is the app using? Are using the new app, and are there any crashes and things like that. So you can have an overview of like that using the provided tool, like how many builds, how many installs are for that version, and you can automatically add users to Violet, to test flight using Violet, and yeah, things like that. So it's pretty good. It just makes it easier. With all those iOS tools, you can probably use it. It can probably be done using the Xcode build tools and all the tools, command line tools app provides. But this makes it much easier, and also it's a nice abstraction layer above all the tools from Apple provides. So the actual release, so it's not the beta store, but actually the store. And the really nice thing is here that, as I already told, all the configuration is maintained within version control. But it's also can be retrieved from the App Store. So, like when you have a changelog, you just commit it to your metadata folder from Fastlane, and then when you deliver your app, all those changelogs are already will be put on the store itself. So, if you will deliver your APK, it will also deliver all the metadata for that. So if you have new screenshots, which is just created with screen grab, it's in the right folder, and when you deliver, all those screenshots within the folder will be in your store. So you don't have to go manually to the developer console anymore, and you can maintain everything in version control this way. So Deliver is the tool used for delivering iOS apps. The nice thing is also, as I already told earlier, when you upload, a lot of checks are performed by Apple itself, like using sphere words, are there unreachable links, a lot of checks are there performed. Are these appeals valid? And there's a tool within Deliver which is already doing pre-check before delivering if there are sphere words in it, and it will reject it before it is uploaded to the store. So that's really nice. So you can save you load. And supply is the tool for Android to upload. It's the same functionality for Android as for iOS. And also all the metadata is maintained within your version control, either Git or SVN, whatever you're using. And then the last slide, it has for notifications, so when your build is finished, yay, I want to post it to Slack, or when you do a new release, or you want to tweet the world that there's a new version of your app available in the store, or you want to mail yourself with gift if you're in the store. Whatever you want, you can use it. And then there's so this way you can do your pipeline. So you can see this is
No, it doesn't work.
so this can be a pipeline to go to the actual app store. So you scan. So right here is testing your app, and then snapshots, creating screenshots for the app. Sign is one of the tools to sign your app. Here, actually used yet. It can be used as well instead of sign. Jim, as I told you, it's the build tool, and then you can deliver to the App Store, and then end up in the App Store, which can be one of your lanes when you merge your master, for example.
Just the breadlines and the lanes, right?
Yeah, so these are the lanes. So this can be a lane as well. So if you want to just go to test flight, you choose to scan to test everything, and then with Pilot, you can deliver to test flight, and then with Slack you can say there's a new version of test flight, and you can inform your customer that there's a new version of a store test flight.
So you can set it up the way you want.
Yeah, you can just set it up. Yeah. And this is just maybe for testing, maybe in feature bench. It's just, however you want to set it up, you can set it up like this, and you can chain all these tools to actually deliver your app to build it everywhere. So the last demo, I'm gonna deliver an app to the Android store. So this is again my fast file. This is where I define the lanes, and one of the lanes I defined is increment is the deploy lane, and I put there 3 steps. The first step is a step of increment version code, because as you know, you can't upload the same app with the same version again. It will give an error. So I will just, for the ease now, I'll just increment the version code automatically by 1. And then I'm running the Gradle task, which will assemble a release. It's that here. And then it will upload it to the Play Store, and I define the track I want to upload it to, and it's called the beta track. It's one of the tracks, and that's it. And all I have to do now is tick in Fastlane, and then the name of the lane. In this case, it's deploy, and then it will run a deploy. First, it's gonna increment the version code. You see here, it sets the version code at 8. So here's all kind of information with all the configuration provided. And then it's uploaded to the Play Store. So that's really easy. And time correct. And I refresh this. Okay, so if it's working, it wasn't earlier, working earlier. Now it is. So now here version 9 is committed a second ago. So it's now available in the Play Store. And you can promote it to a track or, well, anything you want. It's there.
Cool. So it's actually more like a build number. You can call it. You can call them more now.
Yeah.
You have an internal version extra.
Yeah, the version code and the version name, and I just incremented the version code for this demo. But you can do a lot more. A lot of plugins which can automatically define what kind of version you want.
So this version code is kept in Play Store API or something that you retrieve it through that API and then
Yeah, first we
or you
retrieve it
bump
and then we
and-
increment one and then we write it.
Oh.
It's defined in your build Gradle file,
Yeah.
the version code. So I probably changed it now.
Ah.
Yeah, so here is the default configuration,
Yeah.
and it says version code 9.
So you have to check this back into source control as well.
Yeah.
Ah, and if somebody else does this in parallel, developing locally.
Alright,
Yeah.
there's a release to the beta store, so I hope you don't.
Yeah, and also probably this will be done in the CI environment, which Frans can tell more about.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we'll just make it.
and then one more thing. As I already told you, you can create your own plugin, and they've created something for that called Spaceship. And Spaceship is an abstraction layer above all the tools which Apple supports, which Apple provides, with a nice interface to, which it's written in Ruby, and it's really easy to make plugins from that. So you can call things with a Ruby library, which will call Xcode tools below. So you don't have to remember all the Xcode 2 builds, and you have a nice API which you can use for creating your own plugins for it. So that's really nice, and it's easy to create plugins. And yeah, I'm gonna hand it over to Frank. Zoekje?
Alright. Back to a Windows machine. I don't have to worry about screwing things up in the Mac. Like I said, yeah, I'd like to live in the Windows world with Microsoft, so Steef told me about the research he was doing about continuous delivery tools. And I thought I could work with that, so I tried some of the things he did, tried to use the Visual Studio Team Services. That's why he dragged me along to this presentation. So I'm going to show you some demos how I like to do continuous delivery for Android and iOS. It's going to be quite short, with a lot of demos. This is one of the 2 slides I have, so not too much text, a lot of showing and really some demos. So the first product we're going to look at is Visual Studio Team Services. It's a mouthful. It's actually, it used to be called TFS, Team Foundation Services. Microsoft brought it to the cloud, and for the last 3 years they did a lot of new development on it. I didn't like TFS, but I love VSTS now. It's developing really quickly, a lot of new features. It does a lot of things, so it can host your code, you can put your work items in there, you can run automated tests, but also actual testing for your testers, you can also use it. But we're going to look a little bit about into the build and the release. Alright, so let's see. So one night Steef told me, oh, I'm looking at this continuous delivery tool, Circle or something. So I thought I would just get his GitHub repo and try to see if I could build it and run it through and publish it to the Android Play Store. So what I did, I created a pipeline. It's called Steef Circle build. And what I did, I just connected his repository to it. Yeah. So actually here I just made a fork of his GitHub repository. So in VSTS you can just connect to GitHub directly. You just have to log in and it will create a token for you and you can connect with it. So every time something is checked into GitHub, this will get triggered. So let's see how that works, because it will take some time to go through the whole process. So what I'm going to do is, not a big expert in Gradle, but I think this is my version code of my Android application. What I'm going to do is just going to bump it to 5. I'm going to commit to GitHub. So I'm going to change, stage that, version 5. So commit and push that to the GitHub repository that I've cloned from Steef. Just like any build tool, it's just a list of steps that it develops that you have to go through. In this case, I have a Gradle build, which is a task that Microsoft provides. It's very simple. I didn't configure much to it. Actually, I think it's just a standard task. I didn't configure anything. Then I went to code signing. Because I want to be able to upload it to the store, I have to sign the APK just like you have to do on iOS, but in this case just with a key. So I uploaded the key, and actually the password here is not that secure. You can all hack it if you want. You can save the security in VSTS as well. But for the purpose of this demo, it's just here. This actually took me the longest time to get the password and username right, because I have to contact Steef, please send me the key, what's the password, and then is that the same as the alias, and that took me the longest time to get it set up right. But that's about it. Just have to say what the store file is and username and password. And I have one task to copy it to the artifact directory, which is just a separate directory, and then I publish it to the artifact as an artifact. So this is basically the build. And in VSTS, build and release are very separate. So now basically my build is done, and this can be released. It doesn't matter what tool you use, but yeah, VSTS has release tools, so let's have a look at that. I hope now it's permitted. I hope to see that. You can see the build is in progress. 2 minutes ago I updated on GitHub, and now it's building. So hopefully we can see this build. So for a standard app, that's all you need to do to set up the build. Then I got to set up the release, so I want to publish it actually to the Play Store. So I have an Android Play Store release, which we can have a look at. And here you can see an overview of all your environments, various triggers and requirements need to be passed before it's, the release is triggered. So in this case, I connected it to the artifact that I just created with the build. We have a trigger on this. It just updates every time there's a new build available, so there's not many conditions. Then here we have a trigger that we want to deploy to this environment every time there's a new release. You can do all various things with approval gates. People need to approve it. Services will need to agree on it. But for now, it's just very simple. Every time there's a new build, please kick off my environment. And the only environment I created is the alpha track, which is very simple. It does a release to Android. So these are tasks you can download from the store, or there's a lot of them built in. So I want to add a task, you can just create any task, enter code signing, and build, or Azure stuff. But there's a lot of plugins you can download. And this is one of the plugins to integrate with Google Play. I think this one is developed by Microsoft. But as a community, we developed a lot of plugins. So this is my plugin, and I configure it to connect to the Play Store. First, I need to go into creating a service endpoint. So I want to be able to authenticate to Google. And actually, what VSTS does, you can just give him a list of all the credentials you have to connect with external services. So one of these external services, in this case, is the Android Play Store. Logging into the Play Store, downloading some JSON file, uploading it here, getting it connected, setting it up. So a little bit of boilerplate to get a connection set up. And then I need to point it to the path that the files created from our build server. Tell it to what track I want to upload it. What language. Here I can also use the release notes and some other options. But this for me is enough to get it going. This is very similar how iOS would work. There are also steps, there are also tasks to build iOS to do your code signing. And there's also a release task for Play Store. And actually, I don't think Fastlane is used for the release step for Android or the build step, but I looked it up, and for the iOS one, it actually uses Fastlane underneath the covers. So you can see a lot of these tools actually use what Fastlane already built for them to make it so much easier to get those abstractions and put it to the store. So if you would have a similar task for iOS, this is how you configure it, and underneath the covers it's all Fastlane. Alright, let's see how our build is doing in our release. Taking a bit longer than I hoped for. And what's interesting, usually with a build server, you have to configure a lot of build agents. I just blame this agent for being so slow. For taking so much time. It's actually a hosted agent, which is very convenient. You can just get hosted agent from Azure. You can get one at a time for free, I think. You can purchase extra ones, so you don't have to maintain all these agents with different versions of code. So you get an iOS one, you get a generic one on Windows or Linux, what have you. I think we're gonna get back to this. And I have 10 minutes. So we just did the demo. I think setting up VSTS is quite easy. And what I really like about it, because it gives you a lot of control. You can actually hook into a lot of things, set a lot of properties. You can set up the build just the way you want it, with so many options. Not always you want that many options. What I just did is super straightforward. Why do I need all those fields, all those options? It's a bit cumbersome. Microsoft has another product. It's called appcenter. and it's totally centered on mobile app development, delivery, testing, release, analytics. I think it even supports push notifications. So it's really a portal built around mobile apps. It actually used to be a hockey app. I think you can still use hockey apps. Steef mentioned it in one of the slides, but Microsoft bought it and used that to make this product. It supports Android, iOS, and UWP apps. Actually, it does Android and iOS better than UWP because it used to be hockey app, and they have a lot more experience with that. And then within that, you can choose whether you have a native app, a Cordova app, or a Xamarin app. I think now you have to react to, but they're updating this relatively quickly. So I want to have a quick look at that, since we're waiting for the build anyways. And I'm going to really challenge myself to set up a continuous delivery for the same mobile app in 10 minutes. So here I'm logged into the portal, and we got some of the apps we got. I tried this one today, and I think I did it within 10 minutes, so hopefully it should work out again. So I'm going to add a new app, so I'm going to choose, it's an Android app, and it's built with Java. So here you can see the topics also mentioned on the slide. So we could do build, testing, and testing can actually test on actual devices running in a data center. You do have to pay for this part if you want really that real device testing. Distribute, to actually publish it to the stores. Some diagnostics, which you can get basic analytics, crash reporting, that kind of stuff. Actually the diagnostic analytics are split up. And then push, you can actually set up this portal to send push notifications to Android and iOS. But let's focus on the build and the distribute. So here I'm going to select the GitHub repo. It's still there. And there we have the branch, the master branch. So what I want to do is set up a build for the master branch. I want to do this in release mode. I want to build it on every push, so every change it, update it. I can automatically increment version codes, but because I have two CI/CD environments, this is going to be a little bit ugly if I try to do that. Because usually we use in this case, the build number, or timestamp, put the timestamp, I guess. I'm going to skip that for now. I do want to sign it, otherwise the Play Store doesn't like it. So what I'm going to do is upload the key file, which is here. And if I copied everything right from Steef, with the alias here, and our beautiful password. I can test on a real device. Well, apparently now it's free. I thought it would cost money, but probably have a free tier now. And I want to distribute this. And I want to connect it to a store. Play Store sounds good. So I need to upload my security token, which I already downloaded today, so that really helps. I'm going to connect that. So now it's connected to the environment, and if I would have more lanes here and on Android, you would see them here. So I think we're going back to build. Didn't lose that information. Alright, well, must not much work. Now I want to distribute it, and here I can select, for example, the alpha channel, and that is we do save and build. Now it's going to kick off the first build, which wasn't so smart because I think we'll have the same version number as that my other build is going to use. Let's see how this goes. But that's really basically all you need to do. It's very straightforward. Just select what you actually want to have done. And I use this for one client now. I think this project is out for half a year now. But it makes it super easy, especially for the smaller projects that you do want to have that CI environment, but don't want to set up all the fancy options. Works really well. But yeah, if you have this great app, you work for a bank or something like that, please go to VSTS because this will be too simple. It's not that much to configure. I can see my build is succeeded here. I can see there's a release triggered 4 minutes ago. It's happy. You see it initialize it, download the artifact, and actually trigger the release task. So now if we go to development console, state circle, artifacts. And we see 1 minute ago we released this using VSTS. And actually expect this to crash. But I think we did enough demos, and I hope you will believe me that I would change the version number that will also release it. But yeah, we have to go through the whole thing again. Because that will leave us some time for questions, I think.
That looks wonderful. I mean, it looks like both of you have fantastic tools on both sides of the Android and iOS equation. So I'm really interested because I would love to have this level of CI/CD on our backend systems. At the moment, this is just a happy little dream. We'll get there. If you have that level of testing and automated deployment, what testing follows that? Like once it's out there, is it at a point that you're confident enough that you can just hand it over to, for a bit of hands-on testing and you're good to go? I mean, of the whole testing equation, is this 90% or is there a check set?
Depends how much you set it up. From what I just showed you, I did that for a customer. We didn't really take the actual user interface testing into account. So it really depends how well you set it up and how much you trust it.
Yeah.
I think it's also a matter of time. If you have a release, it's a stable release, all the tests are smooth, and you really maintain this, yeah, hopefully you get more trust in the platform. But yeah, always be wise to actually have a manually check.
Yeah.
This could take a lot less time, especially.
So you would push it out to a beta store, point your internal users to the beta store, they would download it from there, do the functional feature testing, give you the thumbs up.
They will actually automatically get an update to the Play Store because they have it there. And I think on iOS they get a notification from iTunes Connect.
There's a later version of your software.
I think you do have to specifically update it there. But yeah, it makes it super easy for your product owners and your testers to actually get on this stuff.
There's a new version there. You don't have to install APK manually or you don't have to send anything. It's just there.
What I would really advise people is not to wait too long with this. Don't wait setting this up when you actually finish building your app. Because do it first. Yeah, with your first sprint, release it through this already. That will really make your life easier in the end. Any other questions?
How much is actually, if you want to buy these apps or use these apps, how much pricing, cost, usage do you expect? If I want to use appcenter and I want to use for multiple apps, how much price and money-wise would I be talking about?
VSTS as well as appcenter both have a free tier.
Yeah.
It's for your project at home, it's going to be fine. If you want to do a lot of releases, a lot of builds, it's going to cost more. So if you really set this up only for your release when you're actually going to go to the Play Store and not for every build, for example, to do testing, I think you should be fine. I think it's one concurrent run, which is going to be annoying after some time. So at some point you're going to pay, I'm not sure about the pricing model. Yeah. For a very small app, that maybe, it's going to reach a few times, it's fine. And apparently now the testing thing is free. I really want to try that out sometime. Actually do tests on real devices. But
Yeah, what do you get back from the test on a real device? Is it like, I envision a data center with all kinds of mini computers with devices connected to it and cameras. looking at the screens?
not necessarily cameras, but probably screen grabs. And video recording, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's screen grabs. I'm not actually sure how these products actually do it. But yeah, they need to have actually the devices. So there's somebody from Microsoft or Google like buying a new iPhone when it comes out, plugging it into their CIC.
I once got a video from Microsoft because we applied something to the App Store. Apparently it crashed on a certain phone. We saw somebody just pointing and filming it, like starting the app up and then going to an option and then crashing it, and that they sent to us after pushing it to the Windows Store. So someone is actually testing it in an office and filming it and sending it to us. So that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Like an automated Turk.
Yeah.
We're going to see robot hands
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
This is probably the minimal viable product.
All right, I think we'll leave it with that.
Yeah, thanks.
So it's time for the break.
Yeah.